So actually, what got me thinking about this topic was something that Justin mentioned in a text message between all of us a while ago when we were talking about some gnarly death metal records, if I recall correctly. And Justin then posed the question, do you ever think about what's wrong with you and why you listen to this music?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I remember it because I revisit that question on a regular basis when I almost envy somebody who's like, oh yeah, I saved up all this money to go like hang out at the Taylor Swift concert with like another like 80,000 people and like enjoyed music that isn't offensive and I can put it on in any car and nobody's going to like be one way or the other. It's just going to be like, this is just widely accepted music. But if I put on music that I enjoy, people are like, what the fuck are you listening to and what is wrong with you?
Yep, I think about it all the time whenever something super gnarly comes on. So anyways, that kind of got me thinking, not to do like a full out diagnosis on everybody, but more so sort of how we got exposed to all of this stuff. So Kyle, my friend, set the stage. Roughly how old were you? Where were you at in life? Like, where were you living when the first piece of media was exposed to you for either punk, hardcore, metal, all of those things?
Yeah. Maybe Justin can relate to this. Like, growing up in a beach town in Huntington Beach in Southern California, and like just immediately being a part of like surfing and skateboarding, like punk was just a part of that. Like every surf video had punk in it. You know, like every skateboard video had some kind of punk song in it. Like Lagwagon, Unwritten Law, like that kind of like that kind of punk stuff.
Fat Wreck.
Yeah, like Fat Record.
A lot of Fat Record stuff. A lot of Pennywise getting played in those things.
Exactly, and it was so ubiquitous in like Huntington Beach. That wasn't like a subculture thing whatsoever. You know, like any little rat wearing like a Billabong shirt like knew what Pennywise was, right? But like, my brother, who was 4 years ahead of me in high school, 4 years ahead of me in just regular school, he was kind of a nerd and like latched on to a bunch of other nerd kids who, you know, adopted themselves as straight edge. And then through that, like I got introduced to, so the piece of media in question, I think, is Earth Crisis, the All Out War EP. My brother had a tape. I remember I was in like late 7th grade. So, you know, I'm probably 13, 14. And
you're saying Earth Crisis All Out War was like your Patient Zero record?
That was the thing that like got me. I was like, you know, of course, like I heard like punk, like NoFX, all this stuff, and like, you know, like Pennywise, Lagwagon, and of course, like I knew about like Metallica, but that was the first thing where I listened to it. I'm like, this is different. It was like scary, kind of in a way, and like it was about something, which is also super curious to me. You know, like a lot of the other punk stuff that was just sort of like about like eating burritos and flashing curbs or whatever. But like, oh, I'm like, this is interesting. Well, it's actually about something, and that's what captivated me a lot about it.
It's funny that you mentioned something like that, Kyle, because I hadn't really thought about this until you started talking about this. But like growing up in a surf town, like you are like punk is kind of like the mainstream stuff.
It is, and
mainstream. Even if like, and like even if so, like if you were like attracted to like counterculture and punk, which I feel like a lot of surf towns like were founded like on that, as far as like being a surfer and a skater, and you're like, okay, like
just
you know, I'm gonna be counterculture. But then when everybody else around you is also like that, it's not really that counterculture. Like you still have the community, But then I had the
Exactly.
same thing with hardcore as well, where I was like, well, if everybody likes punk, like I want to I want to get even gnarlier, dude.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then started enjoying hardcore. The fact that the All Out War EP is your patient zero, as Wesley put it, that's fucking insane to me.
Yeah.
Why?
And that's like, I don't know, you're just like the most progressive like hardcore kid of all time.
You kind of like Doogie Howsered that shit. It's like you
Yeah,
showed up
you
to
just
high school and you were like, oh yeah, I'm already in like AP physics.
yeah,
Well,
I'm gonna skip Minor Threat and like I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go straight to
say like I knew about Minor Threat. Like Minor Threat was in surf videos. To me, like Minor Threat and like Bad Words, the same place for me at the time. You know, like musically, it wasn't that different. I know, like lyrically, they were on a totally different level and everything. But like music of Minor Threat wasn't like, oh my god, this is blowing me away.
yeah.
Right.
It wasn't until and I mean, there was other hardcore stuff I was exposed to before that Earth Crisis EP, like Ignite. It was like around like like 94, 95. That was probably one of my favorite bands ever. And to answer the other sub part of your question that's coming, Wesley, it was like that still holds up for me in a big
All right.
way.
Slow down. Slow
All right.
down.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Yeah, but that All Out War EP was just like that's what captivated me in a way. And it was like, this is scary. This is heavy. These guys are pissed. Like they're pissed off about something. That's the thing that sort of made it click to me in like an
Well,
interesting way.
and they were
I'm
mad
more
about it.
Yeah, they were pissed off and they were mad about it.
Yeah. So that's what like sparks the interest into like the more extreme, like the more heavier side of things, right?
All right, Nate Dogg.
Oh,
What
man.
about you?
Well, I definitely feel like I'm the outlier on this, but I was definitely a metal kid, but I bloomed late on as I did, I guess, in a lot of ways. But I got into Metallica, and that was for the Black Album, which was not that cool, I guess. But that sent me backwards, through time. And once I found Master Puppets and Justice for All, in particular, those two, I mean, still to this day, there's nothing that tops that, in the metal world, to me at least. I think that's true for a lot of people. But so yeah, that sent me on a journey down the metal plane. And the unfortunate thing is that this was the 90s when there wasn't a lot of great metal, at least that I was finding in my small hometown.
Oh yeah, that's debatable.
I mean, well, again,
So
like,
wait. Sorry to interrupt, but just set the stage for the listeners at home. What is your hometown and how old were you?
yeah, so I was like 12, 13. My hometown's Napa, which at that point was maybe, I don't know, 50,000 people. We only had a warehouse, which still to this day is my least favorite record store ever, so it was the whim of like what was there and what albums would jump out, to try out. But
What do you mean? Does it
anyway,
exist till this day?
no, I think they've closed all of them, which I'm
Warehouse
happy
is
about.
gone, dude.
Yeah.
There's no more
Yeah,
warehouse.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the 90s, as you guys know, I mean, so my jams were like obviously Metallica and then, Pantera, but then like Sepultura, mid 90s, At the Gates came out, and that opened my mind up to all sorts of other shit. I was working at Safeway. I was just out of high school, and I remember I had it was like a hit parade or something. We would grab magazines and take them to the break room, and I was reading through the reviews, and they gave it 5 stars. I was like, what the hell is this? So I think I had to drive to Berkeley to buy that album, and that was my next kind of leap of like, all right, shit, this stuff's scary. It was scary to me at the time until I saw them later. But
Was that
it was
Slaughter of the
total
Soul?
mind.
In
Yeah, that was
95?
Slaughter of the Soul. Yeah.
So you
And then
knew about that in 95. That's cool.
I not only did I know about it, I saw them on that tour at Berkeley Square, which I was
Did you see
gonna,
him at Berkeley Square in
yeah,
'96?
I was gonna bring that up later. Yeah,
Yeah.
opening for Napalm Death.
Rad.
But anyway, and then for hardcore for me, it was a random so I'm into At the Gates. I go through their catalog. Their first album, Gardens of Grief, has a song on it, All Life Ends, which is just one change up after another. And they're all rad, but it's horrible songwriting. I was just starting to play in a band at the time, and that's how I wrote, because I didn't know any better, just like riff, riff, riff.
I love that.
And
song.
then I'm at Raspbian's in Pleasant Hill, which is like Concord, and I'm going through the used bin, and I see this album, Petitioning an Empty Sky by Converge, and I was like $6. I was like, I'll try it. And this is before, Forever Comes Crashing or anything. I bring it home and I'm like, put it on, and of course the first song, The Saddest Day, jumps out, and I was like, what the hell is this? And and it reminded me so much of that early At the Gate stuff. It was just like part, every part's awesome. And anyway, those are my two, like, that Metallica and those two albums were definitely my entry points into heavy stuff.
Like, of course, in the early 90s, like listening to like Nirvana and crap like that and going, okay, this is the stuff that I like. And I had kind of been raised like listening to rock music through my dad. And then at some point, a really good friend of mine said, like, we got to start listening to this other stuff. So he was like listening to like a bunch of R&B and like just like radio jams, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Like, essentially he was going like, you're not gonna get like laid ever if you're listening to this other crap. So we got to start listening to what like chicks like. And I was like, okay, like that's what we'll start doing.
Like Casey
And
and JoJo,
yes. So
Peaches and Cream.
like I remember going to like shows with like a couple of friends, like older sisters, and like them, and like going to like see like bands like Alice in Chains and like and Nirvana and shit like that when I was like really like very young, and then getting away from that. And then I remember like I realized that I hated all this other music because I went to a Boyz II Men concert with with my friend, and we went, and it was Tevin Campbell, it was Babyface, and Boyz II Men. And I remember just like looking around everywhere and going like, I fucking hate this, and I hate this music, and I hate everything about this. And coming home and like throwing everything out and going back to like listening to like punk and shit like that with all like and the stuff that like I got from surf videos, right? Like, so like that was the thing was, okay, I listen to like I get my music from surf videos, and then I get my music from skate videos, and that was about it. So like I guess like my first like really like okay, cool, this is kind of where I want to go was buying Static Age by the Misfits, and like
Sick.
going and grabbing that record and like looking at the cover going, okay, this is spooky and this is cool, and listening to the Misfits and going, all right, like this is like the shit that I want to listen to. And then like from there, much like you, Nate, like I would buy stuff and then I'd look at people's names, like like on the liner notes and things like that, and then see if I recognized other stuff. And at the time I had a Columbia House subscription. So like I remember seeing Danzig on the Columbia House like subscription thing and going like, oh shit, like that's the guy from the Misfits. I think I'm gonna grab this album, and like getting like Danzig 1, and then going, okay, cool, Def Jam recording or Def American recordings, like I like what they have here, and then like getting into Slayer through that, and then like listening to Metallica and shit. And then from there on, I started just like listening to like punk and a lot of heavy metal. And then somebody in high school finally was going, hey dude, if you like this shit, like you got to check this stuff out. And yeah, like I got a mix CD with, and I still have it to this day. It's like, or it's not a mix CD, it was a mixtape. And that's kind of how I got, I guess, into hardcore. Was he was like, yeah, man, if you like this, you're gonna love this shit. And I was like, oh, bitchin', like, and that's kind of how I started getting it. So, the answer to your question, like the first
What was on the
The thing
mixtape?
that got me into it was definitely Misfits. I think my first hardcore album that I ever bought was One Truth by Strife.
Solid record.
Yeah.
The way I'm hearing it, really, it was Boys to Men that got you into hardcore.
Yeah,
100%. So that's kind of what I was going. That was like the roundabout thing was, I got into hardcore because of Kevin Campbell, Babyface,
Yeah.
and Boys to Men.
Dude, I saw a show. TLC opened. Their album wasn't out yet. Then Jodeci came out. Then Boys to Men, and then MC Hammer headlined at Oakland Coliseum. Fucking nuts.
Damn.
It was crazy.
That is
That
nuts.
was crazy.
Shit went off, dude. And then I doubled down. I got even more into R&B. But
Hell yeah.
that's for another
Hell yeah.
That sounds pretty intense for a young man.
Kyle logged back in.
Yeah, Kyle logged back in, and that's also the name of the podcast as well. That sounds pretty intense for a young man.
I was thinking as you posited the question, what's wrong with us or whatever? Because for me, like I feel very strongly that heavy music it's obviously an acquired taste, but it's like spicy food or whatever. It's like just because people like it, that's there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it shows how open-minded we are, right? I feel. Whereas so many people are closed-minded about it. They're, you know, they hear a little bit of it and they're, what the hell's that? You know, so.
Yeah.
But again,
I mean-
but then you look at how many of these band members and stuff are involved in shitty things. And you're like, oh, okay, that's not.
Yeah, but dude, you can
say that with
say
any
that
yeah.
about anybody. I'm gonna indulge this rabbit hole for 2 seconds, and then I'm gonna keep it moving. But there was, I think I might have told you guys this, but there was a recent study, sort of along the same lines, where they looked at a bunch of metalheads who listen to fucking black metal and death metal and all this stuff, and analyzed the feelings that they experienced when they listened to that music. And it was overwhelming empowerment and joy. And other types of music obviously didn't quite register that way, but it definitely like got the ball rolling on the discussion of, well, maybe there's something more going on here, and maybe there's an experience that doesn't necessarily line up with how the music appears.
Not
to
even
the casual fusion.
Not even Tiesto.
Not even what?
It's a DJ, Wesley.
Oh, I don't know. I don't listen to that stuff. All right. So,
what about yourself, Wes?
Yeah, I'm gonna make mine super short because we're gonna run out of time. I remember it specifically. Sophomore year of high school, I was whatever age a sophomore is, probably like 14 or 15, living in Marin County, California. My buddy Matt Miller came back from camp. He met a kid at camp who was way into punk rock and said, "This is cool, you should be into it too," and made me a copy of, I think, a mixtape that this kid from camp made him. And if I remember correctly, it had certain songs from Minor Threat discography, a bunch of Fugazi songs, and then like probably what was the name of those like Epitaph comps that they put out? You guys remember?
Punk Goes Pop?
No.
Now that's what I call punk.
Punkorama?
No. I think it was Punkorama.
Yeah, that's it.
Probably, yeah.
It's Punkorama.
It was probably like Punkorama like 1 or 2 or something like that. But it was a bunch of Epitaph bands as well. The Epitaph stuff I could kind of like take or leave. The Fugazi stuff was a little advanced for my new ears. And the Minor Threat stuff like made no sense to me. Like it was so fast and like so different from any music I had heard up to that point, that it was kind of like confusing. It was just like, well, where's the beat? Like I don't understand how you're supposed to nod along to this music or whatever. But for whatever reason, like kept listening to it. I think it was their cover of Stepping Stone was sort of like the one that was the catchiest, and I sort of glommed onto it. But that was the thing. It was a mixtape that my buddy Matt Miller made me, and it was all downhill from there.
2
That's right.
mixtapes.
How
Yeah,
long,
dude.
Wes? How long after that did you start kind of hearing or knowing what straight edge was and start identifying with that?
Oh, I took like a super hard left turn after that. It was like nothing but like second and third wave ska.
Yeah.
Then I got into like oi and street punk because of like that scene connection. Then it was probably more like Bay Area, like hardcore stuff. So like AFI, Screw 32, Swinging Others, that type of stuff. Technically a Santa Cruz band, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Justin.
Yeah, they are, but
Yeah.
well, the only Santa Cruz band I think from like, of course, like Good Riddance, Fury 66, AFI wasn't a Santa Cruz band, even though they played there every weekend. But like the big one
Yeah.
was Phil.
Oh yeah. But to answer your question, Nate, that didn't come until like way later. Like, even though it sort of started at Minor Threat, it took some weird like twist. Like I loved fucking Dookie when it came out. I was obsessed with that record.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
who didn't?
That'll come back around in a couple questions from
Sure.
now if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kyle made the point about like Earth Crisis and All Out War, but like when I finally did come around to straight edge and sort of had a better sense of like what I liked and what I didn't like, what I did like about all that stuff was it totally like cut through a lot of the bullshit that I saw at shows, i.e., like a bunch of like lame, stinky punks just like getting super drunk and like acting like assholes. So I liked that it was sort of against that. It was sort of punker than punk, or like a little bit of like one upsmanship. I thought was appealing. But yeah, that didn't come until like if I'm talking sophomore year of high school, that probably didn't come until like 4 years later. So, or not 4 years later, maybe like 3, something like that.
Until you really found a connection with straight edge bands. It was like 3 years later.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would listen to them here or there, but it was also like things were so segmented at that time. You know, it's not like I don't know what your guys' experience was, but mine was very much like if I was listening to ska one year, but then decided to get into hardcore the next, like that meant like I had to like dress differently and like act slightly differently. It like basically I felt like I had to like refresh myself in order to not be a quote unquote poser, even though that's probably the most posery thing you could do
Yeah.
to be into something. But that's just sort of how it felt at the time. Like you couldn't just be like, oh yeah, man, I love Skank and Pickle, but like Earth Crisis is great too, you know?
You had to wear the uniform for sure.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way in Santa Cruz, Justin, where there probably was more of like a punk culture than northern Marin County or Napa?
As far as having to not like try to feel like a poser at shows
like
and shit like that.
Assimilate and like.
Yeah, so I was alwa's weird growing up, and I've gotta correct myself from speaking of being a poser. I don't know why I said Phil. Phil's a East Bay band.
Is that what you said? Oh, okay. Yeah.
What I was thinking of that I just said it incorrectly was Blast.
Oh yeah.
Which is the Santa Cruz punk
split.
band.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. But like that was always like one of the weird things that I did was like I don't know if I ever like I don't think I ever like really went like full tits boogie into like hardcore culture until I was pretty much like out of high school because I still was like surfing and skating, and I like wore skate shit and I wore surf shit, and in Santa Cruz also it was a little bit weird. Um, like I did all my shopping twice a year. We had this sample sale from NHS, which NHS makes like all this skate gear, like Santa Cruz skate gear and shit like that. And you could like go get, you know, 10 shirts for $10, like all the misprints and all this other stuff. So like I'd just go hog wild there, and that would just get me through, you know, like the following 6 months or the following year. And then it wasn't until I was kind of living on my own where I was like, oh shit, like I'm gonna dress the part as far as hardcore and stuff like that goes, because I think I could more or less afford it at that point, which wasn't something that I could do like in high school. But you know, like I still wore I still wore like band shirts and stuff like that, but I couldn't go full camo shirts and Sauconys when I was a junior in high school, just because so, you know, I just didn't have the money to do so, and my family didn't have the money. I was more like interested in like saving up for a surfboard or something like that.
I hear you.
I mean, I think you and I have a very similar upbringing and growing up in these surf towns, but for me, I felt like punk and everything, and like in Huntington Beach, that I wasn't like. There were some hardcore kids that like I knew of that like dressed and looked the part. Like I was similar, like mostly I dressed like a surf kid, but every once in a while, like I had like the reason shirt that like. I bought a Gorilla t-shirt off of a dude at the beach because I was like, oh fuck yeah, I love that band so much. And he's like, do you want this shirt? So I guess I bought it for like $10 off a dude at the beach, and then so I'd be wearing a Gorilla Biscuits t-shirt, hanging out with a bunch of surf kids, and nobody knew what it was. But then like some like senior would be like, oh, what's up, Gorilla Biscuits? Sweet. But I never like, nobody was ever like, why aren't you wearing, you know, extra large Jinkos with that shirt, dude? Like, fortunately, I think having to look the part and missing that time frame, I'm pretty happy about. Because my older brother, who introduced me to all this stuff, right? Like he was all into straight edge, and like I'm really
of that initial period of exposure. What album do you still enjoy? You started to answer this earlier.
I did. Like Earth Crisis All Out War AP, like not so much. I won't really like sit down and like have a listen and enjoy that thoroughly, you know. But
fuck off.
The first thing that came to mind that I can't sit down and listen to, Ignite, that Call on My Brothers one.
So good.
That's so good. I love you, man.
I get weirdly I get weirdly emotional listening to that song.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I literally remember like being in the car with you, Justin, you, Kyle, and Dano, and like blasting that.
Oh really?
Yeah. And it fucks
that.
me up. Yep. It was we were either going to the airport or coming back from the airport from one of our New Orleans trips, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
But yeah, we blasted that, and we blasted Broham.
Oh,
fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's some dude stuff right there.
I think that came out in '95.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So it was pretty early, and then, you know, like the deviation from all the other punk stuff I was listening to isn't like that far, but like, you know, it had that like more of like positive hardcore mentality to it. I guess sort of similar to Earth Crisis, like kind of being about something, right?
Mm-hmm. And just a touch of opera.
Yeah,
exactly.
Little theatrics in there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good introduction into like music being about something. I was like, man, these guys from Hungary really like whales.
All right, Nate. Same question. What album of that time period do you still enjoy?
I mean, it's not an interesting answer to say Metallica, I guess, but all that shit though is super, tastefully recorded and has stood the test of time, obviously.
But
But
which
Which one is
album specifically?
yeah, which
I
is the best one? Which
well,
is the
well,
best
well, I was gonna
Metallica?
say that's not even my answer because it's so cliche. But if I had to choose, yeah, Master Puppets. I mean, for sure.
That's wrong.
Though I'll definitely stand by and Justice for All. I'll stand by the Black Album. I think it's like obviously very very well recorded and all that. But I don't know. For a more interesting choice, I would say Cold Chambers. No, I'm kidding.
Holy shit.
Oh, whoa, yes.
Well, we're out of time.
No, never into them. I would say like yeah, KSAD, Sepultura. That holds up extremely well. Listened to it this week, kind of thinking about this, and yeah, there's just so much shit in there that I feel like so many hardcore bands ripped off later. Hatebreed being the main one. Just kind of full riffs pulled out, um, verbatim, so to speak. And anyway, yeah, it's a tough album. It's fucking rad.
I should go back and listen to that.
I think I need to do a side by side. JD.
This is a tough one for me. As far as like an album, like from me getting into hardcore that still holds up today, that like I can listen to and just be completely psyched on after like a lot of deliberation and thinking about it. I really think it's One King Down's Bloodlust Revenge.
Fuck yes.
Oh my god.
Like I think that's the album where like it still comes on and I'm just like, fuck man, like this is so fucking good. And it was so good then and it's so fucking good now. I think that's my number one. Like
Yep.
like honorable mentions were was definitely like One Truth by Strife, and then Snapcase like also was like things that I was just like fuck, like I can't stop listening to this album because I listened to Snapcase last week and was just like fuck, this record's so goddamn good.
Which
But
which
still,
one? Which
Progression, right?
Regression Through Unlearning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
really gave One King Down a solid chance. So I
Really?
guess
So real.
No.
Sorry to steal your thunder, but real quick, One King Down's the reason I'm straight edge.
Oh wow.
Like Bloodlust Revenge came out and it just took over, and everything made sense.
We've talked about
Yeah,
this
that's what
before,
I
Wes,
remember.
but my band at the time opened for them, and I think you said you were at the show at the Cocodrie.
At the Cocodrie.
I did
show
go
was
to that
fucking
show.
that show is all time.
Yeah,
Yep.
Stretch Armstrong.
Yep. I remember that.
Diecast as well was there.
Yep, I remember that.
And we were the opener that didn't really fit in, but
yeah, that
Because you were playing
like,
cold chamber covers.
we were playing Coldplay covers. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Mine's super easy, like Minor Threat discography. Duh.
The whole thing.
Yeah, it was on the mixtape. Yeah, absolutely, the whole thing. And then runner-up would be Fugazi, and on the Kill Taker.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
That was also on the mixtape. Yeah, I still feel touch and go about a ton of that.
All that
Epitaph stuff.
Fugazi shit was recorded so just sounds so good still. And like as they were kind of learning their instruments better and everything, i.e. instrument, like that they just it's great. It's timeless. It's so good.
What album of that time period do you now not enjoy?
All Out War. I'm just kidding.
But why?
He already said it.
Yeah.
All right.
How about you, roll, Wesley?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of two-way tie. I can't fucking stand Green Day Dookie. Honestly, I kind of can't stand most Green Day. with a few like rare exceptions. But yeah, like if I hear a song from Dookie come on the radio, I immediately change it. And I don't think it's like a too cool for school thing. It's just more like I've heard those songs enough in my lifetime up to this point that like I'm good. I don't need to hear them anymore. Like I played the shit out of them when I was a teenager, and they've just sort of like followed me in pop culture ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to hear it.
I wonder if
Second run.
growing up in the Bay Area gives you a different feeling about Green Day than I have in
It
Southern
actually
California.
I mean, definitely when that shit was big, it was like a source of pride. Like it was cool to go to Gilman Street, and I'm like, yeah, fucking Green Day is from here, and Op Ivy's from here, and Rancid's from here.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like the sort of not as into it emotion didn't really hit until easily when I was like living in Los Angeles, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But second runner up would easily be like pick any third wave ska band.
Yeah.
Like I listen to a ton of that shit, and it is the cringiest fucking crap
Yeah, no shit.
in the world, dude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, when we
it
start
was
talking
fun.
about our first early shows, I'll tell you about some ska stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Justin.
So
Kick
I
it to
didn't
you.
really like think about.
I got one.
I'll have to.
That's
I'll
fine.
have to. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. I gotta let that thing fester in my head for a second and really kick around in it. I listen to like a lot of I've tried to listen to like metalcore from like later in me enjoying stuff, like enjoying hardcore and just going like, oh my god, how did I like this crap? Just going, this is fucking horrible. But
What Wes? I'll jump in. You gave a whole genre. The whole your genre being ska, more or less. My whole
Third wave, very
my
specific.
yeah. Specials are good. My genre would be industrial music. Like
Yeah.
I tried to listen to so much of that shit through the '90s because I loved Nine Inch Nails and Ministry. But there just is not much good in that genre. You know what I mean? Even Skinny Puppy is like, it's like you kind of like it just to seem like you're on the fringe or whatever, maybe. Um, but then the actual album that I would say, like, do you guys remember when the first Poison the Well came out and they were like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
this is the perfect band. Holy shit!" And like you listen back to that album and it does not hold up very well. The opposite of Descendant.
So,
Yeah.
I think I could probably like I'll throw in another genre. I would qualify that at least for me like later in life, but basically like any time a clean singing part comes up
Yeah,
of
right.
that era, it's just like I'm fucking next.
the one that's coming to mind that keeps on like bouncing up like is Brothers Keeper for me.
Fucking Muppet groove hardcore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do that. And like I used to just I used to be all in, and then I'm like listening to old stuff. I'm like, ooh, I'm like I don't think I'm into this anymore, man. And I forget if I think there was one album called like that I listened to a lot, maybe called like The Continuum or Forever
That's
Never
right.
Ending or something like that. I think those are like the two early albums of theirs that I listened to a shit ton, and I put on one of those albums recently, and I was like, oof, nope, can't do it, can't do it. But then like just like you were saying, Nate, like Poison the Well, that did not age well for me. But then there was other like bands around that same time that like still aged okay for me. Like I really liked this. Did you guys ever listen to that? It was fronted by a chick, Undying.
I remember the name, but I don't know if I had their records.
Like they were good. That I'm like okay, I can still listen to this. Or Like Adamantium, I can listen to Adamantium still
I'm
and
down with
not
Adamantium. Yeah.
and not be bummed out. But
Yeah.
I'm
there's
down
other.
with Adamantium till that fucking singing starts.
There you go.
See, yeah, no, the first couple albums didn't have singing to my recollection, but
The second one did.
okay, well the
second
first one did.
Yeah.
the
Still
first
to
one
this
did.
day their Reignition Bad Brains covers like an all-time cover for me. So fucking good.
So I thought
if-
of one that is real.
All right.
You guys, I don't know, may not relate to this, but this is a little bit late. Like, you know, a couple years after like getting into hardcore, I got really into, you know, I guess it was sort of like the pre-emo, like pre-post-hardcore type stuff, like Texas Is the Reason
Ooh.
and Far Side and Sensefield.
Yeah,
And
Rev shit.
yeah, all that Rev stuff. And I still love Texas Is the Reason, but like Far Side and Sensefield, I go back and listen to that stuff now. Like, good God. The Sensefield especially is just, I don't know if you guys ever listen to that. It's,
So it's funny you mention that because I remember like trying at the time and being like, okay, this is on Revelation. Youth of Today was on Revelation. This should be cool, right? And like being super confused and just like, what the
I think
fuck?
a lot of that like boils down to at the time that like I probably just bought the CD because it was from Revelations. And then when you're a kid and you spend $10-13 or whatever on the CD, you're like, I'm listening to this fucker. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna decide
much more
this
patience,
sucks.
right?
Like I'm gonna give it a go for a couple of years.
Well,
and drive
you
around my
were
car
like
with it.
pulling for it, right? Because you invested in it and you wanted it to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just the disappointment of that acceptance never coming.
Yeah.
For sure.
Here we go. Let's go to a show. Okay, top show in parentheses S, top shows of that period that changed you. And what I mean by that is you went to the show feeling one way and you came out of the show feeling a different way, either about the band or about the quote unquote scene in general. But you had a transcendental experience of some sort. I'll go first, and I'm going to cheat because there were 3 I can think of. Technically, only 2 were in the like time of exposure that I was talking about earlier, but both the same band. Both were AFI. One was at the Berkeley Square when I was probably like a junior in high school. And that was like the first time I had been to a show where the singer like passed the mic around where you could like sing along, like crowd participation thing. And like I got like mic time and was just like, whoa. Second one was AFI at the bomb shelter. That felt like I had like leveled up to like a real hardcore show. Because bomb shelter shows when people showed up were actually fucking bonkers.
Where's the bomb shelter? I don't know where that is.
So bomb shelter was in Oakland. A bunch of OBHC dudes, if I have my story straight, set it up. So like dudes from Powerhouse and like Sammy and all that. And at least the shows I went to, they would kind of like kick it off and be like, okay, this isn't 924 Gilman. You can stage dive all you want, just don't like hurt anybody. So people would just go extra hard.
Bomb shelter shows were fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, it was dope. It was pretty short lived. I don't know, maybe like a year and a half. I don't know. What do you remember, Justin? How long
as long as when you started saying it, I was like, that was like a 2-year blip.
Yeah,
on the radar there.
It came and went super quick. I remember hearing stories that like it kept getting robbed. It was just in this like sort of random warehouse space in Shittown, Oakland. Anyways, and people would just drive their trucks through the front door and then just steal all the audio equipment and drive away.
Yeah.
And that happened like multiple times. But there's like tons of stories of like crazy shit happening at bomb shelter shows. And then sorry, the third show for my cheat answer was definitely Converge at the Cocodrie, because that was an experience where I knew Converge. I had friends who liked Converge. I think I was even dating a girl around that time who was really into Converge. And
Nice.
I didn't think they were that great, although like cat meow meow singing that Jacob Bannon was doing at the time was like super off-putting to me. Yeah. But after that show, I was like sold. Like instant favorite band that continued to be my favorite band for probably like the next 10 years.
What year was that? Like, how old were you?
That was probably 99, I want to say.
It's funny you say that, because I have a few shows that I was thinking about, and one of those shows was 98 at the Cocodrie, and the Nerve Agents opened up for Converge. And I went up to go see the Nerve Agents, and then Converge came on, and I was like, holy shit. Like, this is fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe I have a flyer for that show somewhere. I should find it. That might be the same show, Justin. Do you remember if Today Is the Day played?
Today Is the Day played right in between
yeah.
the Nerve Agents and Converge.
How were they?
And
Okay.
I forgot who opened up for them, but there was like, I think there was 4 bands at that show.
Yeah, I have the flyer somewhere. I'll find it and send you guys a picture. Today, I don't.
Was that the era they had Half a Mastodon backing them up, or prior to that?
I had no clue, dude. I mean, honestly, like, I have very little recollection of Today Is the Day.
But that was that for When Forever Comes Crashing, that era?
Forever Comes Crashing had just come out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that show was apeshit. It was awesome.
It blew your mind.
Yep. Came out changed.
That was a mind blower.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple that like I thought about this a lot, and like narrowing them all down is extremely difficult. And I kind of did the same thing as you, where I thought about like 3 or 4 different shows, but for sure, there was this like era, and I'm not sure what year it was, but like I'd been listening to AFI and really enjoying AFI, and I think they had come out with Answer That and Stay Fashionable, and then Very Proud of Ya, and then they came out with this EP. What was it, 3.5? I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah.
But I had like a cover of a Cure song on there, The Hanging Garden. And then they played with Fury 66 and Good Riddance in Santa Cruz. And I bet you that was in 1996 or 1997. And that was a show that I went to where I was just like, okay, like this is where I fucking belong. This is the coolest shit of all time. Like, we got community here. It's scary, but people are helping you up. And it was just, that was like a life-changing show where I'm like, I'm all in. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is fucking cool shit. But then like really like electric atmospheres that like completely, like I left the show going like, what the fuck did I just see? And knowing it was something pretty special. And they were all at the Cocodrie. And I had a buddy, the same guy that did the mixtape, Brian. He, like, I would just essentially, like, he could give me a call. And growing up with my parents being divorced, like, it was kind of easy because I could tell one parent that I was at one house and the other parent at the other house, sort of thing. So I could go up to all these shows with Brian. And I remember going up, and I think the first one that I tripped out about was just that, like, the fucking violence of the show was, It was Visions of Disorder, Scarhead, and Buried Alive at
Mother-
the Cocodrie.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
And Candaria played, right?
Yes.
Dude,
I was there.
that
Yep.
was the show I was gonna say that I missed. We were asked my band was asked to play that show, to open for that show. And my singer could not get it off work. And it's still to this day it bugs me. But anyway, how
Nobody
crazy-
shot.
remembers the Subway sandwiches he was making either, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. I know.
He's an artist, dude. You
Our
gotta
dude.
respect that.
But isn't that crazy? Like that I was going to reference the show when it came around to show that
Yeah.
So that was one of them that I was just like, holy fuck, man. Like this is not a punk show. Like this is like guys were bringing weapons in and shit like that.
Oh, I remember that Scarhead got their fucking tires slashed.
Yeah, someone
on
got stabbed or something, right? At that
Yeah.
show.
The owner of the Cocodrie got stabbed by the singer of Scarhead. Well, that was like the word on the street. I have no idea if that even happened.
I don't remember that. I do remember people getting like pulled out over near the front door of the Cocodrie. I don't remember like any type of violence happening in the club per se, but I remember like a week or two later hearing that like, yeah, Scarhead's van got fucked with and there was probably some type of like fight outside.
Yeah. That was one where I was just like, holy Toledo. This is something different.
That's crazy.
Right around the same, I think it was the same year. I'm assuming it was like 98 or 99, but I went and saw 25 to Life at Gilman.
Yep.
That was another one where I was just like, holy shit. Like, okay, like that's something completely different as well. And also like the stage presence of Rick to Life was fucking insane too. Like, it doesn't seem like that crazy now to like see somebody that heavily tattooed, but him coming up with like a fucking basketball jersey on and
like a body
dreadlocks and like throat to fucking toes tattooed, I was just like, holy shit, like what the fuck am I watching right now? So that was another one where I left there and I was really pretty tripped out. And then the third one we already kind of mentioned, but that was that Converge and Nerve Agent show. And that was a show where like there was a while there, like do you guys remember Steve Koepke's list that you could get like
Of
the
course.
little sheet of
Absolutely. Yep.
so like
Couldn't live without it.
yeah, so like so Kyle, up here in the Bay Area, there was this dude that was like, and
Yeah,
everything was all kind of like,
I got there in 2003, so I kind of remember you talking about that specifically, Justin, and I was sort of the tail end of that.
Yeah,
well, you just like I didn't know like when I like kind of towards the late 90s and early 2000s when I was like starting to like live on my own and stuff like that, like a lot of the music you couldn't get at like record stores. Like we had some really great record stores in Santa Cruz, one of which was this place called Streetlight, and they had a good hardcore section.
Yeah.
And it was always funny, like when somebody like went from hardcore to like metal or something like that, like the word would get around town, like you got to go down to the used bin and get all the fucking CDs that you possibly can because blah 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 just sold everything. So you just go down and like snag everything. But apart from that, like you'd go to shows and there'd be a dude there selling like records, and he'd be selling fucking CDs and tapes and shit like that from like a bunch of different bands, as well as like clothing and patches, and like it was like going to like a hardcore mall. But in addition to that, like you had to go to a show to get Steve Koepke's list, and he'd hand them out at the end of the show, and it'd be like the next few months of shows that were coming in. And then like for me, I would just like I don't know what the term would be, but like as I was trying to like look for different bands, like my litmus test was always the Nerve Agents, because they would just, it seems like they played every weekend and you could always go and check out a good show with the Nerve Agents playing. And and that was one where I'm like, oh cool, Nerve Agents playing at Cocodrie, I'll go check them out. And then they were opening up for Today is the Day and Converge, and just like watching Converge and just going, holy shit, dude, this is something. Another one of those things where this is completely different than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, they also like looked completely different than any other band
Yeah,
at that time. Like for lack of a better term, they kind of just looked like normal dudes, maybe with the exception of Jake with like tattoos and shit.
yeah.
But just to sort of like look that way and then just dominate on stage was wild. I don't know if you remember this either. I thought it was badass that what the guitar player's name? Aaron and Kurt.
Kurt Blue.
That
Yeah.
yeah, their backup microphones were facing the drummer, so they would like turn their back when they would do like crew vocals. I thought that was extra hard at the time.
And
Things that
Wesley,
stand out.
another like show that was like an honorable mention, but it wasn't really a show. It was like a fight where one of my favorite Blood for Blood fucking shirts said I went to a fight and a Blood for Blood show broke out on the back of it. But I think it was it Floor Punch at the Cocodrie where there was the
I was
complete
there. Yeah.
the complete like skinhead fucking
You
war.
want to hear the story?
Do I want to hear the story?
Or should I tell the story?
You should tell the story.
Okay. Yeah, it was Floor Punch, Gyromite, and somebody else. And I remember we showed up like in the middle of the show, so probably the band right before Floor Punch. And there weren't a lot of people there, but there was a super fucking weird vibe, and there were definitely skinheads there. So it's kind of odd. The band before Floor Punch finished up. Floor Punch took the stage, and it wasn't like there were enough people for like stage diving or anything like that.
It was
probably
desolate.
Like,
there was a lot of hardwood on the floor.
For sure. But whenever any quote unquote hardcore kid would try and start dancing or moshing or whatever when Floor Punch was playing, they would basically get like shoved out by the skinheads. So it goes back and forth, like not cool. And then at one point, sort of like the skinheads are more or less in the middle of the pit. Unbeknownst to them, behind them, Mikey Hood, Sammy the Mick, and a bunch of other people start passing around like mic stands and pipes and all this shit. And then the skinheads basically just get swarmed. There were probably like maybe 4 or 5 skinheads just get bum rushed by probably like 15 kids who were probably like, I don't know, 3/4 their size, but armed. And they just get wailed on. I remember my buddy Jerry, who was taking pictures on the stage, like stomping on one of the skinheads from the stage. I didn't see this and I have no recollection of this, and I kind of call shenanigans on it, but somebody said somebody from Floor Punch picked up a monitor and dropped it on one of the skinheads. But I don't know about that. If that happened, I definitely didn't see it. But it lasted whatever, like all of 20 seconds, which seemed 5 times longer because it was all happening in like slow motion. So at the end of the skirmish, one skinhead was out cold in the middle of the dance floor and wasn't moving. So he had some friends like crouched around him. My buddy Jerry took a picture of that that I think I have somewhere. And then I think it was Mikey Hood then got in the middle of everybody and went, "All right, fucking hardcore kids over here and skinheads over there," and like kind of like parted the seas or whatever. And then the cops showed up. So the cops start looking around. They see the skinhead on the floor. Ambulance comes, picks him up, and then the cops look at the skinheads. They look at the hardcore kids, and just go like, "So that guy slipped, right?" And everybody goes, yeah, he slipped. And then they go, okay, fucking show's over, get out of here. And that was that.
It was my recollection that like the how I remember it was the cop was like pretty cool about the whole thing. Like looked down and saw a skinhead with red suspenders. It was just like, yep, all right, that'll happen.
Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't until I think it was through Sammy, like I heard sort of the build up to that show. Like they knew that the Skins were gonna be there. They knew that they were gonna like try and start a fight, and it was like I don't know, like trying to reclaim the scene for Nazis and shit. Yeah, sorry, just to be super clear, they were Nazis. They were not just like normal
They weren't
skinheads.
skins.
Yeah, they weren't like sharps or anything like that, or just dudes who happened to be skinheads.
It's the violence is what is the theme, though. That's the interesting part.
At the Cocodrie, totally.
Well,
Yeah,
just
I
all of these like early hardcore show experiences is that like that interaction and potential threat with violence is what was the like exciting.
I
part of it,
heard
wasn't it?
the singer floor punch as he was like punching down on the guy when he was on the ground. He actually punched the floor a few times.
Knew it was coming.
Waka
Uh,
waka.
It's funny you guys mentioned VOD. That was going to be mine. That was like the first real hardcore show that I went to. Was at the Showcase Theater in Corona.
oh dang!
It was VOD and Bloodlet.
Whoa!
I think 18 Visions was on that bill.
Hmm.
But that was the summer before my freshman year. So my brother took me, and like he was like scaring me. You know, he was like scaring the shit out of me. It was like the first time I've gone to it. Like I've gone to other like punk shows and like, but you know, this was like the first like heavy hardcore show like at the Showcase Theater. You know, like he scared the shit out of me. He was like, "Stay close to me, you're gonna die." And you know, so that, but like that was super exciting, and I remember just like showing up and being so freaked out, and I really like I love that VOD record. Like I listened
Imprint?
to it a ton. No, the self-titled one,
Oh,
the one with the like neon green drip
yeah.
on it.
Yep.
And that excitement like really built up for me, and like it was the funnest shit ever, because same as like it was the first time like I've been to a show where people were interacting, and like I was up front on the stage, like, you know, I knew the words, and like the mic was passed to me. I was fucking the first time I ever saw people like do anything resembling a hardcore dance, and I just like jumped in right away. No idea what I was doing, but I was like picking up change or doing whatever, you know, like
You were jibbing.
Wiggling.
least, yeah, like, you know, I walked out of there just like covered in sweat and like least inhibited I felt like, and crazy for how like freaked out I was about it, and then like how much fun that I had. That absolutely was like, yes, this is, I want to keep doing this. And for sharing partial, I think the next one I would think about was, I think it was like 98 or 99. I want to say it was like a junior in high school, back at the Showcase in Hatebreed played.
Yes.
And at this time, when I was a junior, I really only had like one friend in high school that would like go to a hardcore show. The rest of them were like surf bros. But I remember like standing outside before the show even started. There's all these like rumors, like, oh no, like, you know, like this crew is here. This could like, this crew from Salt Lake City had a
Monster
really,
Crew.
yeah, like had a reputation. And I always thought it was all kind of like bullshit. I'm like, oh, what does it mean? Like, what does that matter? Or whatever. Like, but I saw these dudes out in the parking lot, like wrapping their fists with like, you know, like tape, and like putting mouth guards
in their mouths as they're going into the Hatebreed show, and I was like, wait a minute, like what the fuck? Oh, I don't know if I want to do this. You know, these guys were wearing like workout gear and putting on mouth guards and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And that show was bananas. There was no like fights or anything that I remember. That wasn't like the like intentional violence that broke out, but you know, like the recreational violence of that show
The
was like
sport
something.
of it.
The sport was something that I've never seen before. That was fucking gnarly. There was people jumping off of. So at the Showcase Theater, there was a little like balcony section,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a balcony section, and this venue kind of had like an open beamed ceiling with some like pipes that were hanging around, and dudes were jumping off the balcony and like grabbing onto the pipes hanging from the ceiling, and then like swinging like a monkey, and then like falling into the crowd off like hanging off the pipes, and that was blowing my mind.
Kids flying from the rafters, man.
Yeah, but the like putting in mouth guards was that kind of like recreational violence, and like
that doesn't
this is
bode
fun.
well.
But it's, I mean, we all know it's super fun too. Like that's also was like really exciting about it. Like, and I was like, fuck, man, should I put in a mouth guard? Like, what's happening?
Hey, bro, can I borrow your mouth guard?
Can I borrow that?
All right, I'll keep mine super short, but I'm sitting in my garage looking at a poster of Neurosis, and seeing them at the Trocadero through Silver and Blood. You mentioned the word like transcendental. Am I saying that right? Transcendental.
Don't let the bugs in.
That show changed me, man. I literally thought I had a heart attack watching them because it was so intense.
You're way more metal than I ever thought.
Oh my God. So they came out, and their amps are just like feeding back, and they all just come and sit down at the front of the stage, like, you know, Indian style, and just let the feedback go, you know, for minutes, and they just have their eyes closed like they're meditating. And then slowly, like, I think the drummer starts to beat, and then, you know, everyone kind of gets up one by one. And, you know, like they had like a super kind of tribal element or whatever back then, but they had like the guitarist had like Tom set
they all
up.
come at the same time.
Yeah. No, I didn't say what's that called? What's that called? Tantric. I didn't say tantric.
Yeah.
I said transcendental.
Oh.
Two different
Sexy
mediums.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
tantric metal, you know, maybe there's something there. A bunch of Sting covers, you know, but heavy. Anyway, yeah, that's the one for me. That, I mean, other than that, At the Gates, and I mean 100 others too, of course, but yeah, that was probably still the most intense show I've ever seen.
Yeah, I had a similar experience the first time I saw Neurosis. Yeah, it was just like a different level.
Yeah, it's
But
almost like
yours-
it was almost like a religious experience. You know, I hate to say that, but
Yeah,
that's how
yeah.
seriously they like seem to treat the band. You know.
Yeah, it was just a different. Although weirdly, didn't we all go, or at least some of us went and saw him
With
like a couple
Converge,
of years ago?
with
In
Converge.
sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
all of us. I know they played like their earlier stuff that night, but I wasn't feeling it at that show. I think we even left early, didn't we?
We were old.
That was at the Regency, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's a terrible venue too.
Yeah, there's stuff after Times of Grace. Like Times of Grace is amazing. But after that, once they started trying to go all Tom Waitsy, I was like, not feeling it as much.
No, you caught the fucking right time, dude. That's rad. All right.
Fun, boys.
Last question. What show did you not go to, but you did know about? So it's not like the type of thing where you heard about it a week later, but you could have gone, had circumstances gone a different way, but you did not go to, and you regretted it? I'll kick it off. Mine's pretty short, and it happened later in life, but I remember me and a few friends were going to drive down to Los Angeles when I still lived in the Bay Area to see Converge at one of those like butt rock places on the Sunset Strip. It might have been like the Roxy or something. Friends got sick. I did not, but I didn't want to make the drive by myself, so I just stayed home and like ate the ticket price. But at that show, Jamie Josta came out and they did like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 Hatebreed covers or something like that, and it was by all accounts fucking bananas.
The coolest thing ever.
Yeah, dude. So whoopsies, missed that one.
Oops.
What do you think, Kyle?
I want to say Botch. I never got to see Botch.
Ooh.
And
Are you going to go at the end of the year?
Possibly. I don't know. Let's see if my wife.
Well, let me rephrase that. Do you have a ticket for the end of the year?
Actually, my buddy, a good friend I made up here, is really into hardcore and all that kind of stuff. Grew up in Washington.
Oh,
and
nice.
He already bought some tickets to the San Francisco show, said I could claim one.
You should do it.
Yeah, I think December 19th or something like that. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember Botch was gonna play a showcase. I don't think it was like their run of like final shows or whatever, but I passed on it on a whim and I always regretted it. Because I always heard cool stuff about people having seizures and shit like that too.
Babies falling out of women.
Yeah. Just children being birthed on the floor.
They were ahead of the game with like the DIY light show for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and actually, fucking Pettibone was like their light dude at least a couple times when I saw him. From Himsa.
From Himsa.
Undertow. Yeah.
I've got one that I think, and you went to it, Wesley. But I was really bummed out that I didn't go to the Unbroken reunion show down in LA.
Just this one that, like a couple months ago?
No, this one was.
It was like 2007, I want to say.
I was gonna say, I think I had just gotten into the fire department and I couldn't make it down. And I was gonna say it was 15 years ago, I think.
Oh.
But like, I remember like getting into hardcore and like friends had like the last Unbroken show on VHS.
Yep.
And like watching that incessantly and just going like, this is the craziest thing I've ever fucking seen. And then having a chance to go check them out, and I didn't.
Yeah, that was a shame too, because I remember a ton of people from the Bay Area came down for that. Like I remember seeing like Shane and Mel and stuff there. And definitely at the time I was like missing the Bay Area. So that was super nice to actually like see people and see that band. I will say this for my money, speaking of Pettibone, Undertow fucking smoked Unbroken that night.
Yeah.
Undertow was fucking great.
Life, love, regret, huh?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of shows. Mainly tons of bands from the 90s. I wish I would have seen not so much necessarily hardcore bands, but the one I guess I'll throw in there, which whatever, maybe doesn't even qualify, but the band Handsome. I fucking love that band. It was
Hanson?
No, Handsome. Handsome.
I know what you said.
Anyway, yeah, I knew about the show. I knew they were coming through town or San Francisco, and didn't make it, and obviously that band did not last very long. So yeah, let's keep it at that.
So the larger question: what's wrong with all of you guys?
That's for the next podcast.
Yeah,
trying to figure it out, man. There's a lot of hours.
Wait a second. Are we doing a mystery question still? Is that still on the docket?
So it's actually kind of funny because like I didn't it was more of like a mystery discussion, but it kind of coincides with um, Wesley put me onto Toby Morris's put us all onto it, like put us onto Toby Morris's podcast, and then I listened to the one with Civ, which was an awesome fucking podcast. But they talked a lot about reunion shows and how people are like Biohazard's making a fucking boatload of money right now, like playing reunion shows and shit like that. And so I guess the discussion or the question that I had is, how do you guys feel about reunion shows? Because I am like I could go either way with it. Like when Gorilla Biscuits came back in 2006 and played at the Pound, that was one of like the funnest shows I've ever been to in my entire life. But I also went and saw Pentagram play a reunion show at DNA Lounge, and that fucking bummed me the fuck out. Like seeing Bobby Liebing just like look like he literally walked off of 6th Street and then walked in there and was singing.
I'll just say, to tie it in back to Botch, obviously with their reunion show coming up. I mean, I think it's like it's threading a needle to do it right. The few people that I've heard have seen Botch on the reunion are like, imagine them with their same intensity, but now they're like all like even better, you know, like musicians or whatever. So supposedly it's like better, but I'm curious about the energy. I guess we'll see. But I think yeah, it's like 1 out of 10 reunion shows are worth the hype, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly more, but that's my 2 cents.
100%. I definitely have feelings about this. So around the time of that Unbroken reunion, I felt like almost every other show I went to was a reunion, and the majority of them, sorry bands, but were fucking disappointing.
Yeah.
Like, again, sorry bands, but hardcore is a young person's game, by and large. You're not going to be able to match what you fucking did when you were hungry for it and when you were in your 20s. And it's just yeah, to what Nate said about 1 in 10 are actually good.
Yeah,
Wesley?
I think
Kyle or Nate?
Well, no, just the fact, you know, again, back to bands we mentioned, Fugazi, the fact that I feel like they know that, you know what I mean? And that's what makes them such kind of, I don't know, icons or whatever, is like, there's no way they could come out and do $5 shows. There's no way they could come out and jump through basketball. You know what I mean? It's just, it would be different. I mean, the musicality I'm sure would be there, but I think they know they'd be fucking with their legacy if it came back.
It was nice reminiscing of the past, and it was nice. I'm like having it be in the back of my mind for the last week, thinking about going like, oh man, reliving a bunch of old stuff, just like you were talking about earlier, Wesley. Like, you know, thinking about friends that aren't here any longer and stuff like that, and memories that I've had at shows, and so many of them were intertwined with like Dan and stuff like that, and just going like, oh, what a welcome trip down memory lane.
Weirdly enough, the most vivid memory I had when you guys were talking was when you were talking about the list, Justin. I remembered like the ritual of going to Rasputin's or Amoeba, making sure I got the latest list, going home, and then highlighting very precisely every show coming up that I wanted to go to.
Anytime Butt Trumpet was playing, you would hide.
I
just remember I remember reading the list and seeing that name, and I was like, that is the funniest name I've ever heard of.
I don't remember Butt Trumpet. Were they a third wave ska band?
Probably. I never saw them. I just saw their name on the list because that was the thing, is like you were all equal on the list. They gave the same, you know, type, font, whatever, to the big bands as the little bands. So yeah, it was cool.
Yep, you'd have a dollar sign if there was a pit warning.
Oh, right, pit warnings.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll just say, and I know Kyle jumped out, but it whether or not there's something wrong with all of us, I sure enjoy your guys' company and the fact that we have this all in common, and I think we're all good people, and even if we listen to fucked up shit. So, yeah, that's my two cents.
That's right.
Yeah, damn right. Damn right.